First tonight, he thought he was doing the right thing. The words of a woman whose partner died after receiving the AstraZeneca COVID vaccine.
Last week, an inquest in Newcastle found the former musician, known as Zion, suffered very rare and aggressive complications arising from the jab.
Zion's partner Vikki says she hopes that many lives have been saved by the vaccine, but described the hurt following the death of a loved one after taking a jab intended to protect him. Our health correspondent Helen Ford has been speaking to her at her home in the North Pennines.
Back at home with her animals, Vikki Spit is trying to put the anguish of her partner's inquest behind her. The outcome, though, was a comfort to Vikki.
It's better.
She heard a coroner conclude that the man known as Zion had died from a very rare and aggressive condition induced by the AstraZeneca COVID vaccine.
It's a relief to finally have it in writing that the AstraZeneca was the cause. Obviously, I've known that since it happened. The doctors told me at the time. But not having it in writing has led to a lot of people disbelieving me. So it is vindicating to have it in writing, yes.
Vikki and Zion were together for more than 2 decades, for many years the faces of a punk rock band. After receiving a first dose of the AZ COVID vaccine in May last year, Zion developed a headache, followed by seizures and speech problems. Despite emergency surgery in Newcastle, he died. At last week's inquest, Vikki heard the coroner conclude there was no evidence that earlier admission to hospital would have saved Zion. But she's troubled by evidence given at the inquest by paramedics who said at the time they only knew of potential complications from the vaccine through media reports.
There needs to be a database which is easily accessible for paramedics, so they can see the up-to-date information for symptoms. As obviously, as the doctors were saying in the inquest, it was an ongoing situation and they were getting new information daily.
The NHS and government argue that countless lives have been saved as a result of the AZ COVID vaccine. How does it feel when your loved one has died as a result of a dose that was designed to protect him?
It really hurts. I really genuinely hope that many, many lives have been saved. I don't really know how they quantify it, but I really hope they have been. These people didn't die because they got drunk and fell off a cliff. They died because they were doing the right thing. They were doing what they thought would help prevent other people getting sick and dying.
How do you now keep Zion's memory alive?
Well, by continuing to fight to raise awareness for the victims. Again, I can't stress enough, we are not anti-vax, but we do believe that people who've been injured by vaccines should be treated fairly, fastly and fully. Not everyone has the strength to campaign and to fight, so those of us who do feel it is our duty.
For Vikki, Zion is as much a victim of the pandemic as those who died from the virus, an unexpected loss of a partner and friend.
And Helen joins us now in the studio. Helen, talk us through some of the issues that have been raised in your report there.
First of all, a quick reminder, the AZ COVID vaccine was one of the earliest to be approved in this country at a time when the authorities were desperately trying to limit the spread of the virus. More recently, its use has declined. Even so, the Department of Health and Social Care told me that it is still being offered for people over 30 requiring a first or a second dose. Let's turn now to that issue of guidance for health professionals on how to spot possible complications. Well, we've been in touch with one of the organisations responsible, that's the Medicines and Healthcare Products Regulatory Agency, and it told us in a statement, we have been proactively monitoring the safety of all COVID-19 vaccines throughout the vaccination campaign and have, since February 2021, published a regular summary of the safety of COVID-19 vaccines on our website. It goes on to say, we first communicated guidance to patients and healthcare professionals on the risks of blood clots occurring with low platelet levels, and that was something suffered by Zion, on the 7th of April 2021, and further communications followed on the 7th of May and the 14th of June 2021. Finally, the organisation says that the benefits of a COVID vaccine outweigh the risks for the majority of people.
OK, Helen, thank you very much.
Next